else and fall down to the crap.
Fight Club is 20 years old, and viewers are still looking for references and hidden meanings in it. Every shot and event matters in this film. You need to listen to every word and notice the details of the interior and clothing elements of the characters to understand the true essence of what is happening. Even Chuck Palahniuk himself, the author of the original book, admitted that the ending of the film turned out to be more successful than the ending of his book. Today and About Movies, we're going to talk about the details that few viewers can notice during the first viewing of Fight Club. Details from the very beginning of the film hint to us that Tyler Durden and the narrator are the same person. Get comfortable and we'll begin. The key to the whole story lies in the scene in the cinema. As we know, Tyler worked in the cinema projection room for 3 years and is even a member of the Guild of Projectionists. The narrator and Tyler explain to us how the projector works and how the film reels are replaced. The tape with the film is wound on several large reels, and someone has to make the transition from post to post when one part of the film ends and another begins. This is called changeover or switching. If you look closely, you can see small dots in the upper right corner of the screen.
In the industry, we call them cigarette burns.
This is a sign of the end of the part. Tyler turns on another projector, the movie continues, and all of this is unnoticed by the viewer. It's not just about film reels. In this scene, we are told what happens to the character. Our character is constantly making a changeover or switching. It is from character to Tyler, from Tyler to character. And none of the audience knows about it. It goes unnoticed. It went unnoticed even in this particular scene. First, our character speaks, a burn appears, and Tyler starts talking. Then the burn appears again, the character speaks again.
The movie keeps right on going and nobody in the audience has any idea.
The cinema scene takes up much more time in Palahniuk's novel and goes hand in hand with the character's story about his job as a returns coordinator. This means that it is during numerous business trips, during flights, that our character begins to switch between his personalities, and summing it all up, the character says,
Could you wake up at a different time, in a different place? Could you wake up as a different person?
Along with this, Tyler, like a true bully, inserts fragments of pornography into the film.
Nice big cock.
But we will return to this later. As Tyler said, we see cigarette burns when changing reels. They serve as a link for different parts of the film when one part ends and another begins. In the movie, there are cigarette burns on the bodies of the main characters. Just as special marks are left on the film to signal the projectionist to change the reel, so the burns on the characters' hands show that both characters are part of the single whole. In the novel, the character cries and the tears cause tiny cigarette burns on his hand, when Tyler kisses the character's hand and gives him a chemical burn. "You can cry," Tyler says, "but every tear that falls on the live flakes on your hand will leave a cigarette burn. There is a shiny blister of burn on the back of your hand, like a pair of lips exactly the shape of Tyler's kiss. There are small dots of cigarette burns from someone's tears around the kiss. They have the same marks on their hands, symbolically showing that the character and Tyler are the same person." However, that's not all. In the novel, Marla was standing in the same place shortly before Tyler pours lye on the character's hand. She literally extinguished cigarettes on her skin and left cigarette burns on her arm. And even earlier, the character had a curious question. "I wonder if Marla and Tyler are two persons or one, as if Tyler with cigarette burns on his hands is a higher being. Mr. and Mrs. Butt Wipers." This episode hints to us that Marla does not exist. We've already talked about this theory in more detail in our other video. If you look closely, Marla and Tyler are very similar. They are the only characters in the story who smoke, and the burns that the character thought were cigarette burns first appear on Marla, then on Tyler, and then on the character. Even at the very beginning of the book, he describes their relationship as follows. "We have something like a triangle here. I need Tyler, Tyler needs Marla, and Marla needs me. It's not about love or care, it's about ownership and possession." Before Tyler arrives at the airport, we can see several shots of him in action, at work, at the doctor's office, and a meeting with cancer patients. We see him smoking right in front of Marla smoking. We see him in a commercial on TV. It may seem that the second personality of the character is just emerging, but Tyler appeared much earlier. On the plane, he finds himself with a suitcase full of homemade soap and a huge amount of knowledge on how to make explosives from napalm and fat and improvised materials. It shows that Tyler has been taking control of the character's body at night and reading special literature for a long time. It is mentioned in the novel that Tyler worked as a projectionist for 3 years. The character suffered from insomnia for about the same time. This explains his lethargic state at the beginning of the film. All this time, he worked at night and did not realize it. He only had an hour a day to sleep. Toward the end of the film, Tyler will say that he appeared because the character was bored with his gray life. Tyler embodies all the qualities the character would like to have. He is smart, handsome, brave, and most importantly, he is
Free in all the ways that you are not.
However, this is not the real reason for Tyler's appearance. The reason for Tyler's appearance can be heard in a small, inconspicuous bathroom scene. The character tells that his father left the family when he was 6. He did this every 5 to 6 years. He left the old family and created a new one. When he first fought Tyler, the character imagined that he was fighting with his father. Now, the character is 30 years older or more, and Tyler is 25. Why did the character subconsciously choose this particular age for his second personality? He blamed himself for the fact that his father left. He believed that he could be the best son. He wanted to be the boy his father would love. This left a huge wound in his soul for many years. At the age of 6, an alter ego was born in the character's mind, and now Tyler is literally 25. The catalyst of the appearance of Tyler was the work hated by the character. As a returns coordinator, he travels around cities and investigates items that break down and harm people. He has a formula by which he calculates whether it's worth returning defective shipments of goods or whether it is cheaper to pay the victims. Affected people don't even count in the equation for a man of his profession. They are just consumable materials. This puts pressure on him. He feels his insignificance because he too is this consumable material. He begins to terribly be afraid of death, meeting with it almost every day. He wants to break out of his routine. He feels like a part of the system, a nonentity devoid of individuality, but he can't do anything about it.
Doesn't have your name. Who are you? Cornelius? Rupert? Travis? Any of the stupid names you give each night?
This also explains the lack of a name for the character. Many people in the analysis of Fight Club call the character Jack because he calls himself many times.
I am Jack's smirking revenge. I am Jack's raging bile duct.
But this is nothing more than a literary device. So the author shows us what the character feels. The narrator's house is full of magazines with articles about the organs of a certain Jack.
I am Jack's medulla oblongata. Without me, Jack could not regulate his heart rate, blood pressure, or breathing.
The character developed a habit of describing his emotions in this way. The narrator has a name, but it is not named in the film or book. This is because he is devoid of individuality. He is the same as everyone else, without outstanding features, an ordinary social unit, a consumer. I wanted to get out of my little life, to become something more in this world than one serving of butter and a cramped airplane seat, Swedish furniture, applied art. Then a lot of things immediately make sense, assuming that Marla isn't real either. The character begins to go to a meeting of terminally ill people suffering from insomnia because of Tyler. There he gets a moral discharge, but his conscience begins to put pressure on him because he deceives people who trust him. This is how Marla appears, a third person who goes to the same meetings and gradually forces him out of it. If Tyler brings chaos into the life of the character, then Marla from chaos restrains him. She serves as his conscience. Even the fact that she smokes at meetings of patients with tuberculosis and cancer casts doubt on her reality. No one forbids her to do this, and no one notices her. The outside characters may appear to interact with Marla when the narrator is away, but they also interact with Tyler when the narrator is away. And if you follow the speech of the three main characters, you can find out how many self-repeating are in their words. They often say the same words. For example, Marla asks Tyler to keep her awake all night after swallowing Xanax. If she falls asleep, she will die. In the end, the character asks Marla to keep him awake all night because if he falls asleep, then Tyler will take control of him and he will also die in some way. Marla says she gets a lot of calls, but only silence is heard on the phone. The character also often received calls, but there was silence on the other end of the line. Also, the character repeatedly calls himself Tyler and Marla full circle. It is not a love triangle, but a circle, implying that there are parts of one whole. Also, the evidence is the distortion of the time frame. Notice how much time the narrator spends under the persona of Marla. It's morning outside when he visits Marla to check her breasts for cancer. Marla is picking up food for the old people. He spends literally 5 minutes with her and goes out into the street where it is dark and late evening. The character tells Marla at Tyler's house that a pink dress is just right for her. She answers verbatim,
"You can borrow it sometime."
Moreover, Marla and Tyler are the only eccentric characters in the film. The character, his boss, the police, people at meetings, and random people they meet all behave adequately, like ordinary people. Even the members of Project Mayhem are behaving quite adequately. But Tyler and Marla are not. Tyler works as a waiter and urinates in the soup that is served to the rich in an expensive hotel and inserts pornographic footage into family films. On the other hand, Marla steals from laundries and says strange things, comparing discarded Christmas trees with the victims of homicidal maniacs. It's hard for the character to keep 3 personalities in his head at once. Therefore, as soon as Marla leaves, Tyler appears, and vice versa. In the meantime, we are preparing to move on to the most important thing: the narrator's acquaintance with Tyler. Write in the comments how you like the theory that Marla is not real. It is interesting to know your opinion. Tyler Durden and the narrator have never crossed paths before. The character worked during the day and Tyler worked at night. Their first dialogue looks more than funny. On the plane, Tyler reads the instructions. "You can't help people with the emergency exit, please ask the flight attendant to transfer you."
It's a lot of responsibility.
Tyler invites the narrator to switch places. He is not real and cannot yet control the narrator while he's awake, so he will not be able to open the emergency exit if necessary. Tyler wears glasses with red-tinted lenses. This type of lens, although it looks cool, has a different purpose. They increase the contrast of the image perceived by the eye, and also reduce the amount of blue light received by the eyes, thereby relieving stress. It is an ideal choice for a person who is awake 24 hours a day and works at night in poor lighting conditions, such as changing commercials in a cinema or making soap in the kitchen at night. The image of Tyler is created by the main character based on how he would like to look, and if Tyler wears such glasses, then the hero subconsciously thought about buying such glasses for himself. You can see from the large bags on his face how his eyes are tired. Fight Club was created by characters as a place where every person will be free, regardless of his status and name. Fight Club is the exact opposite of consumerism. The members of Fight Club are people raised on TV with the belief that they will become millionaires, movie stars, and rock and roll stars. They are people with broken dreams, without hope, but instead of mourning their low status in society, they decided to unite to prove to everyone and themselves that they are still strong and they do not need power and money to have a personality.
Do not fuck with us.
The narrator and Tyler together come up with 8 rules for Fight Club, and there's something very interesting about them. The first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. The second rule is you don't talk about Fight Club. Why are the first 2 rules of the club don't tell anyone about it? The character has lived by the rules all his life, and now when he has learned to break them, he wants others to learn to do the same. The basis of their community is the breaking of the rules, and joining a club begins with breaking the basic rules of the same club. Followers must learn to do what they want, not what is forced on them.
Look around. I see a lot of new faces.
The club members chuckle, no one is shocked, no one is surprised, and everyone takes it for granted. At the beginning of the film, the narrator has absolutely no control over his life. He goes to work, goes home, and then repeats over and over again. He does only what the corporation tells him, as well as the manufacturers of goods. He is like a machine. He has no personality and no name. He doesn't even consider his life valuable. Then Tyler Durden appears, the embodiment of what the character considers as the ideal life. It is freedom without no restrictions. But in the end, his alternative lifestyle goes too far. Even Marla's personality could not keep him from chaos. The character no longer lives the life he wanted. Instead, he pushes others into this life and tries to make them just as free. But of course, this is not true freedom. The club turns into what they fight against. In the final episode, the character realizes that to live a full life, you need to find a balance between dull, everyday monotony and chaos. It is impossible to live on any of the extremes. In the end, we see the narrator and Marla standing, holding hands, wearing almost the same clothes, which emphasizes their similarity. The point is to find a middle ground between who you want to be and what fits into the norm. In answering one of the main questions, whether Tyler survived, one should refer to the quote of the protagonist. "You are watching a movie and suddenly there is a flash. Big hard cock. Tyler does it." This 25th frame at the very end of the film suggests that Tyler survived, but decided to hide so that the character could not make another suicide attempt. There was peace in their relationship. At least, this is for some time. As for the relationship between Marla and the narrator, this is a separate, long story that we told in the last video. Click on this icon if you're interested to learn the convincing arguments in favor of the theory that Marla Singer also does not exist. In this video, we talked about the reason for her appearance, the fight with Tyler for the consciousness of the narrator, and much more. Follow the link and see. It's fascinating. That's all for today. About Movies was with you. Like this video and see you very soon.